All right, welcome into the BFR Podcast presented by Sports Mockery. My name is Dave. You can follow me on Twitter at Dave_BFR. I cover the Bears for SportsMockery.com. I'm joined by my co-host Ficky. You can follow him on all socials at It's Ficky Baby. Week 18 is finally here. Honestly, this season kind of feels really long. I don't know how. I guess I can. How do you feel like this? Has it flown by for you? Does it kind of feel like week one was a decade ago?
It does. It feels both, right? Like I'm almost like week one does feel like that was eons ago, but also I'm like, we're already through the NFL season. Like this is the last Bears game that we get, for this season. So it's weird because I think the injury also, like Fields being out, like it kind of made it seem like it was 2 seasons in essence, because you had like 2 different eras. You had really 3, right? You had like the beginning where Fields not doing good. We go 0-4. We're looking like dogs here, right? And then you have, Fields gets injured. We're dealing with the Tyson Bagent stuff, right? So you have that kind of little mini arc. And then we have this last one where it's like defense is looking great, offense is coming around, Fields is having some great games, right? And so which is a good one to end on, but it's like a different storyline there. So it's kind of felt like 3 different stories within one season, which has kind of made it feel longer than what it really is. But also I'm like, we're already through the season. Like, come on. But it's been I'd say an exciting kind of fun journey, and comparing where we are now compared to where we were week 1, bro, night and day. So I think
it is night and day, but it could really flip right back to week 1 if the Bears shit the bed this week. So a couple days away from Bears versus Packers, week 18. It's really poetic. I mean, if the schedule writers or the people that predicted the season, the Bears to start the way they did, and then to be almost poetic justice to be able to like flip the script, Bears go on a huge run at the end of the year, knock the Packers out, similar to the Lions last year. Today we were going to have our guest on, good friend Zach Jacobson. He covers the Green Bay Packers for Packer Report over there. He's under the weather. I think a lot of people are just getting sick right now. It's just that time of the season. But he's not able to make it, so you're stuck with Ficky and I today. But we're going to do our best to get through it. Honestly, I'm excited. It does really feel like I'm not going to say Super Bowl. I've heard that term out there. But it definitely feels like a playoff game, even though
100%.
If you win, you don't advance, but it's like knocking them out. And Cole Kmet said it earlier this week. He's like, it would be bittersweet to have them playing and us being at home. So he said, might as well just have them at home too. So,
well, think about it. It's the same storyline, right? You talk about the NFL script. Maybe there's copy and pasted last season's Week 18 game, which was Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers and Lambeau as well. And if you kind of look at how the teams are progressing, or I guess I'd say like the vibe around the team, it is very reminiscent of that same Lions team, right? Where they didn't start off so hot. I think it was like 1-6 or something like that. Of course, they had a lot closer games than what we did, but their back half, they played well, beat some teams that they weren't expected to beat, kind of went on some runs. Offense was looking good, defense was coming around. We're kind of seeing the same thing on our side, except our side is more defensive, like kind of is a little bit ahead more than the offense. But we just came off Justin Field and one of Luke Getsy's best games last week. So you imagine if we come into Lambeau Field, which we haven't won since 2015, I think. So it's been 8 years since we won in Lambeau Field, and we knock the Packers out of the playoffs. That's absolutely like a playoff game. And I guarantee the environment there is going to feel as well. So
I'll say that's crazy. 2015. I know 2018 we came close at Monday Nighter.
Max first game,
opener.
Right?
Yeah, season opener against the Packers in Lambeau, where they were up 20-3 or something like that at halftime. And then obviously the collapse. So either way, Bears versus Packers is going to be pretty interesting. To kind of go over a couple things here, we're going to go over the injury report. It's kind of like a huge storyline this week, even though, again, the Bears aren't playing for much as far as outside. They can't make the playoffs. They're eliminated. But the injury report is kind of concerning. A couple different things here. But first of all, the Packers are, at Lambeau, home field advantage. They essentially have that, like you said, Vicky. We're talking off air, but 3-point favorites right now, which is, first of all, I want your initial reactions. For me, I almost feel like that's the Packers should be favored more. It's honestly weird that it's only 3 points, but it kind of shows you how good the defense for the Bears, and then overall just the entire offense, or I'm sorry, the entire team is really playing right now. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's more. Yeah, I think it's more of a reflection of how well we are playing. Right, Green Bay's playing well as they're also playing good. Like we'll talk about it, but Jordan Love, 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Last 6-7 games, he's had one of the highest QBRs in the league. Like, he's balling out. So they've been playing well too. But the fact that these Chicago Bears, right? We just talked about, we haven't won a Lambeau in 8 years, right? This team is Owen under the, I think there's only 2 players on this team that's been on the team that's beat the Packers before, right? So we've always been the underdogs. The fact that it's this close of a spread, basically it's just a home field advantage spread, right? +3, that's typically how that works. They're basically saying the odds are even, right? And so that's more of a testament to how well this team has been playing, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like 22 interceptions, leading the league. Was it like 27 takeaways or something like that, which is top 3. Defense is just looking phenomenal. And then now we've had some games, recently where Fields and the offense has looked well, as, has matched or played up or past expectations of what we expected in week 1. So what we're like, the difference between week 1 and week 18, like we talked about, it really is night and day, and for both teams, right? I think the Packers offense looks significantly better than what it did in week 1. Their defense has probably regressed, right? They had a good outing last week against the Vikings, but it was against a rookie quarterback. And then on our end, our defense obviously has gotten tremendously better. 2 Pro Bowlers on that side of the ball with JJ and Montez Sweat. And, the D lines come along. We look at like the rookies, not rookies, but some of the second-year players and even the rookies. Javon Dexter has been pretty dominant for a rookie since week 10. JJ's obviously balling out. You have Kyler Gordon, one of the better slots in the NFL. Jaquan Brisker also had a fantastic year. So like, we're seeing a lot of these young guys and the team kind of gel together. And so I think this team has a nice vibe going into the offseason. And I think that's why Vegas is like, hey, look, the Packers probably will win, right, from their perspective. But we're not just saying that this is going to be an easy rollover win. Like, this Chicago Bears team is a much improved, much more efficient team than what you saw in week 1. So that's why I think it's an exciting game, because other than week 1, because it was very unknown, we're kind of like, we think we can beat them, but that's like almost every team in week 1. You go in because you have no idea, right? You go in so optimistic and saying, hey, we can win this, right? This is probably the first week 18 game, because we've had a lot of late ones versus the Packers, right? I'd say like back half of the season, where I've been this confident that, not that it's a guarantee we're going to win, but that there is an opportunity that we can.
I don't feel confident at all. I mean, when it comes to the Green Bay, you said it, 2015 since Lambeau, it's been 5 years now since we beat Green Bay. It's honestly, it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. You play this team twice a year, and 2018 being the last time to do it. So for me, I think after week 1, I made it a testament to say, hey, never going to pick the Bears until they just show that they can do it. And that's a great opportunity, not just for Justin Fields and the offense, but for Luke Getsy too. A big game, a lot riding on it for everybody, of course. But 3-point favorites, nonetheless, a little surprising. I want to kind of get to the injury report here, Ficky. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll change the screen. It's a little surprising, both on the Bears side and, of course, on the Packers. So let's see here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of the NFL. These late week games, man. That feels like the list just gets longer and longer.
Yeah, well, the Packers is extremely long. I guess we'll start with them. So they have All-Pro, Jar Alexander, corner. He fully practiced. He'll be there. A.J. Dillon, their backup running back, is going to be out. Rudy Ford, their safety, is out. Elton Jenkins, the guard over there, tackle, he is questionable. Isaiah McDuffie, he's doubtful. Luke Musgrave, he is questionable. It'd be interesting. This would be his first game back since that kidney injury. And then Josh Myers, neck, he'll be there, full go. Jaden Reed, who has been outstanding, obviously kind of wanted the Bears to get him as well, but he's proven he's honestly what I thought Darnell Mooney would be, to an extent. But he is questionable. I think he's going to play from what I've heard, what I've read. And then of Preston Smith, linebacker, he is questionable. Luke Tenuta,
I think so, yeah.
Questionable. Christian Watson, he did not practice today.
That'll be his first game back in like what?
Yeah, but he was limited 2 days in a row and did not practice on Friday. So interesting. Is it a rest day? I don't know. Questionable. If he's back, that will be good. But their offense, like you said, it's been kind of firing on all cylinders for the most part. According to PFF, their offense right now is 10th best in the NFL.
Makes sense.
Overall, both running and passing. It's pretty. It is, like I said, it's a pretty cool turnaround. Dontavian Wicks, questionable. Emmanuel Wilson, questionable. So again, a lot of players. It's a long list. The Bears are in the similar spot. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the biggest one from that Packers list that we have to like keep an eye on is Preston Smith, right? Because I think some of those people are like second and third strings. Obviously, AJ's already out, Dylan, right? He gets a good amount of reps, so that one's already determined. But
Jaden Reed and Christian Watson are pretty big, though.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. Seeing if Christian comes back, and I think if he comes back, it may not be at full capacity, but the offense has been firing without.
They beat us without him. They beat us week 1 without him. And I thought that was huge. I thought they were going to be missing a huge piece heading into that game. So that just goes to show you.
Well, that's what's crazy with Jordan Love right now. He's kind of dotting up with a different wide receiver. It seems like every game, or a different tight end. It's different. There's not like one. It's not like us with DJ Moore, where you're like, it's DJ Moore, right? That's the man who's getting most of the receptions. He's the one who's leading the team, which is fine. They kind of have like a collection of like, well, who is it going to be this week? So it'll be interesting how the defense.
It's not a bad problem to have either.
It is not, but Preston Smith not being out there, it would be fantastic for us in this offensive line. So,
yeah, and that defense, we'll get to kind of the defense as well. It's kind of dog shit, to be honest. At least they're kind of hit and miss for the most part. I think it's is it Joe Barry, their DC over
Joe
there.
Barry.
He's been in. Yeah, so I'm hoping we don't get a masterclass performance from him, but. Either way, the Bears offense should probably score points. We'll get to our predictions here in a little bit. But Bears injury report, not great either. First of all, Tyson Bagent, illness. He did not practice 2 days in a row. Friday, he was a full practice. Obviously, we're going to have our backup, so that's cool. Kyler Gordon, this is interesting. This is what kind of sucks here. He wasn't listed on Wednesday or Thursday, but he was limited practice with a calf injury, and he's questionable for the game. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he's okay. They're able to kind of get through it over the weekend. Again, these questionable statuses, you really don't know.
No, it's so
fucking tough. Idea. However, I would be shocked really if he did not play, in my opinion. Khalil Herbert, this is one back, and then he had it was personal. So not listed on Wednesday. He was limited Thursday, and he did not practice on Friday. I'm hoping it's more so just a personal issue. Hopefully everything's okay with him, his family, his friends. But he's questionable for the game. However, that would be a huge miss because he was looking – that run game last week against Atlanta, top 10 defense, they were lights out. Jalen Johnson, big one here, Ficky.
Yeah.
He's probably not playing.
No. I'm going to change your mind on that. Only because he was on Spiegel, Danny and Spiegel on 670 The Score yesterday because he does a show on there. Yep.
Okay.
And he said, they asked him, are you expecting to play? And he said 100%. And if you watch the whole video, it's like 20 minutes or so. And I watched it right before the show, actually. I got the sentiment that this man's playing because he talked about how important this game is, right? And he did talk about his shoulder's been better, right? Kind of joking, obviously he's not 100%, but he instilled confidence that he's playing. And verbatim, he said 100%. So you can't get much higher than that. I know it says doubtful on here. A lot could happen within a day. Who knows? But based off his own wording yesterday, it seems like the man's going to play. So we'll see, though.
I hope so. However, for me, the only thing I'm skeptical on is sure he may want to play, but what if the Bears defense or Bears trainers, training staff, medical staff, what if they just they shut him down? It's always possible. Too. I hope not, because he's been playing electric. It would be fun to see him finish this year off strong, because what a year he's had. But doubtful, never want to see that. I love that he said that. I did hear that. I thought it was early in the week, but the fact that he said it Thursday, that kind of gives me a little bit of hope there too. Cole Kmet, he did not practice on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. He had a full practice on Friday. He's questionable. He'll probably just want to see how he feels. He played 14 snaps last week.
Yeah.
But probably hoping he's back, which would be good. Mercedes Lewis, he's fine. Vet rest. Good for him. Yep. Look at him.
Bro, he's been blocking great. I mean, I would not be mad at Mercedes Lewis. Yeah, why not, bro? For what he's asked to do, he's done a great job this year. So
yeah. And then we have Darnell Mooney. This is where I want to talk about a little bit here. He is out. Did not practice, concussion. He was out last week. So my question for you, Ficky, is have we seen the last of Darnell Mooney in a Bears uniform?
I'm gonna go out and say yes. This wide receiver class. Yeah, this wide receiver class is, we talked about the there could be 3 wide receivers that go top 15, right? Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. could go top 3. You have a Dunze, I think is how you pronounce it, from Washington.
Yeah, he's dog.
Out. Malik Neighbors from LSU, right?
Okay.
A dog as well. He could go top 10. So we're going to be within top 15, right? No matter what. I think the lowest we can go is maybe 14 or something like that. So there's an opportunity for us to get one of those top 3 wide receivers and be the replacement for Mooney. I'm not against bringing him back, but I can totally understand. We just drafted Tyler Scott, right? You could let go of Mooney, get Mooney's replacement, who may be better than him with one of these top 3, first round wide receivers. And then Tyler Scott's your wide receiver 3. You know what I mean? That's not a bad unit, right? It can still improve, but it's not a bad unit to bring out week 1 next year. So we'll see what happens. Like, I could be completely wrong. I'm not in that, we're not in the meetings. We don't know what Ryan Poles and, the coaching staff, wide receiver coaches, Flus all think about, and Getsy think about Darnell Mooney. But the signs, like if I was a betting man and I had if I was a betting man and I had to choose, I'd put my money on Mooney not being on this team next year. But what about you?
No, I think that's, I think it's almost a foregone conclusion. I want to go here to Phil's question from Twitter. He goes, who's the second option if Kmet and Mooney are out? So outside of DJ Moore, who would you go to?
Probably Tunyon. I think he got the most receptions outside DJ Moore even last week, right?
Yeah, he kind of had a big game.
Yeah, so I'd probably go Tunyon on that. And then I think it's going to go and maybe
you can't trust Scott. You can't trust Scott right
he's
now.
But he's still going to target him. Scott still had 4 or 5 targets, and some of them were he got some good yardage. It wasn't like he had a completely horrible game. He just missed that big 33 yarder that we all want him to bring in. So I think it's going to be obviously DJ Moore's going to be the workload, right? That's going to bring most of the targets, most of the catches, hopefully double digits in that area, at least for targets. And I think the rest is going to be spread out between Tunyon, Kmet, depending on how many reps he gets, and Tyler Scott, because that's what we've kind of seen most of the year.
Yeah, I want to give I think Tyler. I think Justin actually missed him too. I think didn't he throw that ball high? To him as well.
That went over him.
So the only real drop or miscue was that beautiful ball. But that's at the end of the day. I know I tweeted out. I think I tweeted about this is why you got to get Marvin Harrison Jr. No disrespect to Tyler Scott, but at the end of the day, that was a tough catch. And maybe we're just used to seeing DJ Moore just haul everything in, but at the end of the day, Tyler Scott, Bayless Jones Jr., which I like Bayless. They lined him up at the running back a little bit.
They did. Got a first down, 3rd and short.
It's a good question, but it really does suck that Mooney's out, because if that her last game, was it Cleveland?
Yep. I think so.
So the drop, that's his last play as a Bear. That's kind of disappointing, because I want to go over his stats here. I want to kind of give him his flowers. First of all, he was drafted in the 5th round back in 2020. Rookie season, 631, or he had 61 receptions, 631 yards total, 4 touchdowns. In 2021, that was his breakout season, we thought. 81 receptions, 1,055 yards, 4 touchdowns. Obviously, last year he had a down season, 493 yards, 2 touchdowns. And this year, he's going to finish with 31 receptions, 414 yards, and 1 touchdown. So kind of downhill the last 2 years after a great rookie and sophomore season. It's kind of tough, man. I wish him the best, but I really don't think – I just don't – unless they sign him for a decent deal. Cheap deal.
You have the assets to – this is a good wide receiver class, at least at the top half, right? The top 3 at least. So you can
even free agents, you could – it's not even like that. You say you want to bring in a little bit – I don't know what the receiving, class as far, or the free agent class for receivers, but you may, even if you go for a cheap deal with Mooney, what if there's another option out there that is either the same price, maybe a little bit more for a better player, you know?
Well, let's just put it this way. Unfortunately, Mooney hasn't done enough to confidently say that you're getting re-signed, right? So I think that's where it's at. It's like, hey, look, if we bring him back, I get it. But if we don't, I also get it. You know what I mean? Kind of how we feel about Fields, right? So, well, you know, that the main discussion with Fields is like, obviously, if your stats and your play on field is just so tremendous that the decision's already made, then you don't have to question this. But he hasn't done that, especially recently.
So I want to kind of bring this one up because we're on Darnell Mooney. This is the big kind of talking point for me. This is according to PFF. This is the essentially the 2024 top wide receivers ranking. So we have going through, you're going to see Mooney is actually number 6 on this list. So a little bit higher than I thought, but at the same time, still pretty low. But some of these guys are dogs. I mean, T. Higgins.
Dog. He's going to Kansas City, though. I think he's going to Kansas City.
Pairing him, I don't know. If you keep Justin, you get T. Higgins and DJ Moore. That would be crazy.
Hey, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Receiver.
I wouldn't be mad about it, but I think Kansas City is gonna do everything possible to get T. Higgins. But I think he's gone out of Cincy for sure.
He's projected franchise tag, to be honest, though, which is weird.
I mean, that could be. That could also be.
That's how good he is.
Option.
Michael Pittman Jr. Big body receiver. Yeah. Top free agent comparison though is Allen Robinson in 2022, and that really didn't work out.
Michael Pittman is kind of underrated. He had like he had another 100-yard reception season. Like the man he's not breakaway speed. He's not like the big play type of guy, but he's definitely a great weapon to have on your squad.
There was a point where I wanted Mooney over Pittman. I think it was maybe after his sophomore season, but anyways, I don't know. Wait, what? They're the same draft class, right?
No. I think Pittman.
Or was he drafted next year?
No, I think Mooney's been out 4 years, and I think Pittman's been out 2. So I think they're off 2 years.
2 years. Okay. Mike Evans is number 3 on the list. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, he has 14 touchdowns.
I mean, gold jacket. That's a Hall of Famer. 1,000 yards in 10 straight seasons. Yeah, I would take Mike Evans in I don't care about the age. Yeah, give me
Marquise Brown from Arizona.
Yeah, Hollywood.
He is number 4. Number 5 is Calvin Ridley, which, I mean, you could say kind of disappointing year.
I think he's staying.
I'm not exactly sure what his – yeah, I mean, he's projected to be franchise tagged. And then this is where you have Mooney at number 6. He's actually projected to sign a 1-year, $9 million fully guaranteed contract. So not expensive. No. I mean, $9 million fully guaranteed is not a lot. I don't even know if he gets $9 million fully guaranteed, in my opinion, but it's possible. And then you have Gabe Davis at number 7.
Wouldn't mind that.
Odell Beckham, number 8. Tyler Boyd, number 9. And then to round it out at number 10 here, Curtis Samuel. So, I mean, the Bears are going to have some options. T. Higgins and some of the top guys, probably top 3, will likely not hit the market or at least maybe get franchise tag.
I think everyone up to Mike Evans is top. Yeah, I don't think Pittman's not going anywhere.
Mike Evans would be nice as hell. I mean, if you bring back no, you probably don't want to spend so much money on him, right?
It really depends because we got like if Poles thinks, hey, why would I spend in free agency when I can just go get my guy? Like if you're getting Marvin Harrison, like you know what I mean? Yeah. We have two top 15 picks. One of them is 1, which you can trade back to get Marvin Harrison, Odunze, Neighbors, whoever it is. So yeah, it's all. I think it's great that we're in this position where it's like we don't have to spend in free agency because at the end of the day, right? Free agency you have to overpay because you're bidding against other teams, right? So the price just goes up. Poles came into the Bears, and I think in his first presser said we're going to build through the draft, right? Yeah. So. And he's done that so far, right? He's had some good free agent signings as well. Obviously, you're going to need to do that as well. But if he wants to upgrade the wide receiver position, I think he's going to, especially with this draft, I think he's going to do it with that second pick. Or maybe the first one if we decide to keep Fields. Who knows? He's got the ammo to attack the wide receiver if he deems that it's, worth it. So should be interesting to see. Because of that, also that answered the question that's probably why Mooney's out on his way out the door. So
you're probably right. I mean, we'll see. It just really sucks to kind of go out that way as far as just his last game being that Browns one.
Yeah, especially because we all love Mooney. I think because
the
thing about Mooney is that he was here when the team was. He's been through the trials and tribulations, right? And he's always been that. He's always had good character. He's been a fan favorite. It's kind of the same sentiment that we have for Fields right now, right? Like, no. I guarantee. No, I'm saying in the way that I think most people still feel positive about Mooney. Like, even though he's had bad
Mooney
play,
was.
I think
that one season with Justin, where he got the 1,000 yards. Was that Mish? No, that was Justin.
No, that was Fields.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, overall, I think so. I could be wrong. Let us know in the comments. But I
can remember.
For Mooney, I mean, it's just it's a weird one. It's been a weird season for him. Last two seasons.
Injury, though, to be honest, because even prior to the injury on that third season, if I remember correctly, the beginning of last season, I think he was playing well. Got injured. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's gone. Comes back, doesn't look the same. So,
but he was also getting a ton of targets as far as when DJ Moore coming in.
It's also true.
But I mean, he's a number 2 receiver. He could have. Yeah. Anyways, DJ Moore, he is full go, which is great, especially after seeing his tweet. That was pretty funny. I guess I can bring it up here for those that have not heard. So he was kind of snubbed with the what's it called? The
Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl. Not that it matters a ton right now. And he went out here, and as soon as they came out, he went ahead and tweeted the Joker meme, which I think is legendary.
Of course.
And then I went ahead and I'm not sure if you saw this, Ficky. I said, this is DJ walking out.
Yeah, I did see that. That's a good
I'm not going to play it for copyright, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping that's true. I know that there's a possibility that it could backfire, but I mean, it's week 18. Might as well just kind of go out there. But he is full go, which is great. Lucas Patrick, questionable. He with a calf. Patrick Scales, he's questionable. He's actually never missed the game with the Bears.
He shouldn't. You're a long snapper. I mean, it doesn't mean you don't get injured, but
hey, long snappers are people too, Ficky.
They are. Right. They are. All of them. You can get injured. I mean, at the end of the day,
pull a hammy.
It's a sport. Yeah, you're running, you're moving. Someone could fall on you. You can get injured, but I'm not. I'm just saying I'm not surprised that the long snapper has not missed many games. Is my point. So
all in all, I mean, some people I'm worried about there. At the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. You got to. As long as it's not a quarterback, it's kind of like next man up. Jalen Johnson missing would be huge, though, in my opinion. But Tyreek Stevenson. Yeah. I mean, some of those guys they're playing really, really well. But yeah, there's a lot more to get to. We'll get to our bold predictions, and then we'll get to our game predictions as well. There's a couple videos I want to bring up here. One with Cario Santos. Of course, there was a mock draft that was released by PFF. Well, if we have time, we'll get to that as well. And we have a bunch of questions, of course. But first of all, if you're new here, thank you. Secondly, if you enjoyed the video or if you enjoyed or looking forward to this game, just go ahead and hit the like button. It really is a great way to support the pod. We appreciate it. And then Ficky, you want to go ahead and go through yours? Is a new face game, right? Yeah. So this is Ficky's part. He's got it down. I always mess it up. So
no, it's all good. So if you're new here, first off, thank you. Like Dave said, really appreciate it. Give a thumbs up if you enjoy the show. But if you are new, go ahead and give a hashtag new face gang in the comments, whether that's on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever it's at. Go ahead and do that, and we'll share and give you a shout out at the end of the show or sometime during the show. Also, if you're an OG in here, because I know a lot of you are, like I see a lot of familiar faces in here, which thank you, appreciate it as well. Go ahead and give a hashtag OG in there, and we'll give you a shout out throughout the show as well. So appreciate everyone here, especially on a Thursday night. And is there a Thursday game tonight? I don't think so, right?
No, I think we had our last. I think the last one was
week. Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
I thought so. Okay, well, thank you anyways for being here. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, let me share this one real quick because this is funny. And Beryl said old face gang. So that's a good one. I never thought about that, but yeah.
Hey, that's funny.
Yeah. So
absolutely. I see a lot of familiar faces in the chat. So we appreciate it. It's a Friday night. We're originally going to get this out Thursday, like we typically do for our preview. Oh, it
was Thursday. It's Fridays. It wouldn't matter anyways, bro.
Dude, that's how long this week's been. That's how long this week's been. I didn't even catch it at first. But yeah, today we typically record yesterday. So definitely not a Thursday night game today on Friday evening, but it's a Friday night. And if you're in here, we appreciate it. And then, like I said, Apple, Spotify listeners as well. If you're listening to after the live stream, we appreciate it. But I want to bring up here, if you're on YouTube, you can see what I have pulled up. It's our guy, Kyle Brandt, friend of the show. He's been on before. And just a legendary promo today, essentially, for Justin Fields. He went ahead and tweeted this out. I think it has like 12,000 likes. Just crazy energy. Beautiful. It was beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. I'm going to play it here. And then we're just going to kind of give our thoughts on here in the chat. You can give yours as well. But here's Kyle Brandt talking, you'll see, to Justin Fields.
I'm tired of talking about Justin Fields. I want to talk to him. Justin, it doesn't matter what I want to happen with you, what any of us want, what anybody watching wants. Right now, it doesn't even matter what the Bears want. It matters what you want. I think you want to be a Chicago Bear for life. So do it. Get it. Grab it this weekend. It's right there. I am sick of reading about your landing spots. You could be a Raider. You could be a Falcon. To hell with that. You are an effing Chicago Bear, homegrown. There is no landing spot because you're not leaving. Not if you win Sunday against that team in that town. Something you understood way back in your very first ever mic'd up moment as a Bear. You got it.
Who's your center at Ohio State? Josh Myers. What year was he? He's a senior. He was. Did he get drafted? To the wrong team. Who's that? Oh, yeah. Well, we're happy for him on draft day. Then after that, he can become our enemy.
Bears fans loved it. Here's the problem. Josh Myers has been to the playoffs, and he's never lost to you. He got drafted by the right team. The team that you play this weekend. I think it's the biggest game of your life. I think it is a bigger game for the Bears than it is for the Packers. Green Bay wins, it determines their next few weeks. Chicago wins, it determines their next few years. You win, it determines your entire career. Justin, that team that traded up to draft you is going to grab some college kid to replace you. Doesn't that piss you off? Play like it. For a guy who usually says nothing, it is time to scream something. I am your quarterback. I am your leader. I am your present. I am your future. Take those draft picks and shove them, or save them, or trade them, but you're going to need them to build me an army so I can bring you a Super Bowl for the first time in almost 40 years, so I can give you a real franchise quarterback for the first time in over 100 years. Now, you go up there and you lose again, how can the Bears keep you? But you go burn Lambeau down, how can they not? Great moments are born from great opportunity. You can end two evils in one game. The Green Bay Packers season and the Justin Fields debate. Keep him, help him, pay him, crown him. Justin, this is not your last game as a Bears player. It's your first game as a Bears legend. Woo! Strength and honor, you unleash hell. You got it? Let's go.
I mean, honestly, legendary. He said at the very end, it was such a, I mean, that could be the 30 for 30 intro right there for Justin Fields' career if he remains in Chicago. But honestly, I know a lot of it is, I really do believe, first of all, how big, how important do you think this Bears game is in the grand scheme of things as far as Justin Fields and his career in Chicago? Like, do you really think if he wins that could, what Kyle said, kind of change the trajectory of where it's going and end the debate in regards to the quarterback and everything? What do you think, Ficky? Because I know where I'm standing, but I want to kind of get your thoughts on it first, man.
I know one thing, it won't hurt. You know what I mean? How you're playing, and then you back up. You just had the best passing game of your career, I would say, right? Maybe not statistically, but like just a command of the offense, the accuracy, the anticipation, some of the big time throws. He had like 5 of them, right? Like that's the quarterback. Obviously, you're not going to get that every game. There's no quarterback like that. Even Mahomes has bad games, but that's the quarterback that we expected to see, right? Or see more of. If you see that same quarterback this week and you go into Lambeau, again, we've said it 3 times already, the place you have not won, not just you, this organization in 8 fucking
0-5.
And you go in there and kick this team out of the playoffs. The ownership who values Packers games more than any other game, you're telling me that's not going to hold weight? I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying in general, right?
Yeah.
That if the decision hasn't been made, that is a big a big marker to say, hey, I'm here to stay. This is my team. Those picks, like Kyle said, you're going to trade that and you're going to get me even more weapons because I am that.
He said, build me an army.
Right. Build me an army.
And it's definitely possible. Like that's the two routes you could go, rookie quarterback. I just think it's funny to honestly, if you are Justin, you would almost be a little pissed off, bringing in a rookie, replace you, everything like that. So I first of all, love Kyle's energy always. But I really do believe if it's more so not just winning, and maybe if it's a close game and Justin delivers, that's great. I think that would be huge, especially if it's a game-winning drive or something like that. That could really hold some value because that's something that he's struggled with. More so, I mean, he's actually kind of – they started winning these last, 6-7 weeks here, 5 home games in a row. But the one thing I would kind of want to see is to rip their hearts out. Similar to what Detroit did. I don't want a close game, but I think it would mean even more if Justin and this – similar to what they did to Atlanta. I'm talking 37-17 type win. Justin Fields discount, double check, that type of energy in Lambeau. I think that could really turn some heads and really make the decision that much harder. But as far as like if you lose, I think that could be. I really do believe that could kind of soil, or at least really diminish what they've done these last few weeks and that momentum. Because if you lose to Lambeau, especially if you lose bad, offense flutters, stalls. Maybe if you lose a close game, it's not as bad. But either way, losing this game, I don't think I think it'll almost make it. It would taint as far as the end of the season goes.
Of course, this is
cloud over everything.
This is just adding either goodness or badness, and those aren't the right words, but it's just adding an extra layer.
Negative,
right?
yeah. You go into the offseason either positive as hell. Holy fuck, we beat the Packers in Lambeau. We did it. Poetic justice. What a season. 8 wins, and we have the number 1 pick. And you said it. Also, the negativity, the badness. We lost to Green Bay again. We're right back to where we started from week 1, essentially, or something like that. So you get blown out. What the hell? And then the Caleb and Justin debates get even more. There's people that love Caleb Williams, and rightfully so. But the ammo they need could be right there if this offense falls flat and they lose. So I think this game, it means a lot more than probably just a normal 3-25 Fox, week 18 game means.
I agree.
Especially with no playoff implications for both teams, but just being one.
I think it means more, but I don't think it's the sole. Like, this isn't win or lose that determines whether Fields stays or not, right? I think Poles is a little bit smarter than that, where he's taking a full collection. Right. And there's other context too, right? It's not just did Fields beat Green Bay. There's the context of the locker room and how they feel about Fields, his own character and how he carries himself within this organization. A whole bunch of stuff that we don't have the information on and that Poles sees on a day-to-day basis. All of that goes into also plus, right, the analysis and evaluation of not just Caleb Williams, but these other quarterbacks as well. Drake May, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy, all of that ties into his decision. I don't think it's clear cut to where this will determine whether he stays or not. I think it just adds on to more data that Poles then has to use to make a big, probably the biggest decision of his GM career here in Chicago. And not to go on a rant, but also, I see the Caleb versus Justin discussion where it's Caleb's potential, right, could be this much, right? But Fields is capped off, right? Which is weird because it's okay, one person can just continuously grow, right? You don't limit how big Caleb can get, but you limit how big Fields can get, which doesn't really make sense because that's not how sports work. People grow at different rates, different times. It's not just up, you hit year 3, you hit year 4, you're done. If you look at the QBR of Justin Fields year 3 versus the QBR of Josh Allen year 2, and I know it's year 2 versus year 3, but this is year 2 of Justin Fields in the same offense compared to Josh Allen in the same offense. It's very similar. So would you look at why did I lose his name? Oh my goodness. I just had
Caleb Williams or Josh?
No,
Josh Allen?
geez, I don't know why I've just lost it. Josh Allen. If you look at Josh Allen back then, and would you have been like, oh, that man can't be a great quarterback? Maybe you did think that, but then they got proven wrong. Josh Allen right now has a top 10 team. Every year has a top 10 team, top 10 offense, and he balls out, right? It's not saying that he's going to be exactly that, but this idea that these players are automatically limited and that's just set in stone. It's not. It's all speculation. None of us have a fucking clue. None of us know. GMs don't even know sometimes. That's why they make horrible decisions and get fired year after year after year. You know what I mean? So yeah. The banking on potential is a very risky road to go down. You know what I mean? Because you are very much making your opinion based off speculation and assumptions compared to it really should be Caleb is a great prospect. I would like to start new. That's fine. Fields, I know what he is, right? That's kind of really the only argument. Do you want to stick with what you know, which might be a little bit safer, or do you want to start new with something that maybe has high, like, that could possibly be better? But to think that one can grow so exponentially and the other one's done at that aspect, is done now at this year, is capped off. I don't know. I just think it's a little absurd, but that's my mini rant for the day. I'm done.
Yeah, I agree with it. I to an extent. I mean, Justin, there's a quote here. There's a comment here from TB17. He says, no one's saying Fields' cap is limited, just that he's improving too slow. And so for me, I really think there's both sides are kind of correct. However, context, especially on social media, it's not always there. Because Justin, last year, what were we talking about? Get this guy some weapons. Let him grow. But first of all, the growth couldn't really, it's not really linear because of how he came into the league. New OC in year 2. His rookie season was he was behind Andy Dalton. He didn't get first team reps in training camp. It was just so slowed. Then last year, where it's a rebuilding year, essentially, where they tear it all down. Justin, go out there. It's not really about your development. And in my opinion, it really wasn't. I know Poles maybe did what he could to kind of bring in some receivers.
No, it was tanking.
But I mean, Darnell Mooney was number 1. And then this year, sure, you made a lot of improvements, but he said before the season even started that there was still about 20% left to this roster to as far as just being the rebuild being completed. So you went in at an 80% roster, and then that was before we knew that Mooney was going to regress even more. Then you have the offensive line injuries this year, and Justin and the play caller, Luke Getsy, who I believe may be back next year. If they run this thing back, I really do believe Flus, Getsy, and Justin would be back. Continuity is important. I know Getsy kind of gets a lot of flack, even from myself on Twitter, screen after screen. I get it. Screen God, all that shit. But it's like, he's not terrible. Like that Atlanta game, I want to give him his flowers there. It was all around pretty good. But as far as Justin and his development, it's like, it's not fair because the context, it's not like he had a perfect scenario coming in. But he's also not Zach Wilson. He's not these guys. It's like you see it right now, especially these last 6-7 weeks. There's a great breakdown from, I think, Dan Orlovsky talking about certain things that Justin is improving on, and we're seeing it right now as far as growth. It's not rapid, but it's been really slowly progressing. But it's like one thing that could really elevate your quarterback, we talk about it every time, is the roster around him. And now you have a perfect opportunity to either make that happen by building around him even more, and then banking on another first-round pick next year, maybe. But at the end of the day, I think everyone's valid. The Bears are just in such a good fucking spot, man. I know it's almost exhausting to get on Twitter. I really do try to ignore it. I don't talk about it too often because we have 3 months here until the draft, 4 months, whatever it might be.
Yeah, a long time.
But it's like the Bears are in whatever direction they go, the ceiling's going to be pretty high as long as both quarterbacks, whoever it is, whether it's Justin, Caleb, Drake, Jaden Daniels, whoever it is, as long as the quarterback's not ass, like a Zach Wilson type. We even saw what Mitch Trubisky could do with an elite roster, right? They get bounced out, but either way, we saw what he could do. So as long as you're at a average, which I think Justin, you could definitely make some noise. Caleb Williams, I think he's a really good prospect. We don't know though; it is a question mark. But there's caveats to both sides. It's like, when was the last time the Bears were set up this perfectly? It's a beautiful thing. It's a rare thing too. So
yeah, and that's and let me go back and say that I'm not saying that like they have to stick with Fields. I prefer to stick with Fields. I think me and Dave have both said that, but it's not like that has to be.
Okay. That's I had to write it to there. I finally changed it. Told you before the show, Ficky. I was like, you know what? It's been Justin Fields is not a running back since week 1. And I got lazy, never really changed it. But I said, you know what? For today's show and moving forward, this is my stance. Keep Fields, draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Again, I kind of like Malik Neighbors. I like who's that one Washington receiver?
Dunze. He's good too.
I mean, so it could really say any receiver there, like in the top 3, because they're so good. But I love Marvin Harrison Jr., of course. And I think that would be the pick to go. But for me, I agree. Yeah, both of us are on that same side, Vicky. But what were you saying? Go ahead and finish.
Yeah, no, that's
just
fair.
Rudely interrupting you.
That, no, you're good. It's basically that like we trust polls, right? I'm just saying if you're going to do an argument of Fields versus Caleb, do it more in stuff that is, statistics, right? Because that's fact. There's facts there.
Yeah,
things that have happened, and not on speculation, because you don't know, right? If you say, hey, Caleb is a better passer because he passes better with anticipation, things like that, that's fair. You can look at film and compare it and say, hey, that's a fair argument. But to automatically say that Caleb has a higher ceiling or more potential than what Fields has, you don't know that. That's not a fair argument. That is your assumption based off what you've seen so far. None of us can predict the future. None of us have those superpowers. So that's basically just my rant, is like, if you come with like, hey, these are my reasons why based off their actual play right now, then yeah, that's fair. But again, whatever route they go, I have to accept it. And then I'm going to trust Poles, because so far he's done way more. He's made way more good moves than bad moves. Really, his only staple of a horrific move was the Claypool trade, but he got off of it quick. So I kind of like give him flowers for that. But he's done way more. Look at this team where it's at now. We have possibility to be 8-9, right? That's what we expected from the beginning. And that's after a 0-4 start. And this team's, some of the best players on this team are young. DJ Moore, 26. Tyreek Stevenson, a rookie. TJ Edwards, 26, I think. You look at Tremaine Edmonds, 24, 25, one of the best pass coverage linebackers in the league right now. Jaquan Brisker playing really well. Young as hell. What, second year, third year? So Khalil Herbert still playing well, at least recently, right? Young. Tevin Jenkins looking good. Darnell Wright. All of these guys are young. And that's literally because of Ryan Poles. So I have full faith in him. Whatever way we go, I'll be happy and we'll move on. But like you said, we're in such a great position that whether it's Fields in an army that's been built around him, or it's Caleb Williams in a already kind of like playoff fringe team, we're set up for success for the next couple of years, at least on paper, it seems like, right? NFL's crazy. Shit happens all the time. Injuries happen as well. But definitely the outlook and the vibes of this team are immaculate right now. And I'm hoping it continues after this Week 18 win against the Packers. Hopefully. We'll see.
I mean, yeah, hopefully you're right. I just saw this come up on our stat. I don't even know if it's correct, but Jordan Love's 16 interception games. It's definitely possible. One thing I was bringing up was his stats for this year, which is, what did you say, Fakey?
No, I think that stat's right. And I think he broke like a Packers record of like 4 consecutive games of 3 touchdowns and no interceptions or something like that, which is wild. So the man's been balling. Look. Is he the next Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers? Maybe not, but he's balling.
Dude, I don't even know. You can't even say that right now. I mean, it's outlandish to even say it because you just don't know in this league. But I mean, 3,843 passing yards, which is 10th in the league, 30 touchdowns, that's 3rd in the NFL, 11 interceptions, 61.5 QBR, which is 10th in the NFL. Stats are stats. If Justin Fields had these stats, I can only imagine the fucking talking. I would talk so much shit right now. Like, I would be feeling so good if this were our quarterback's number. So again, numbers are one thing. But Green Bay has a really young roster. I think they have the youngest roster in the NFL at 25 years old, or 25, the average, which is crazy. And then you have the Bears, who are actually, I think they're top 10. They're at 25 and a half. So they're right behind Green Bay. Either way, young rosters, a lot that can happen this offseason, both with Green Bay too. Because I don't think they're going to get they won't get that first, right? Because with trading Aaron Rodgers, it was conditioned on him playing. So it's going to be a second round pick. Either way, that's an impactful player right there. I mean, thank God it didn't get a first, but damn.
Right. But yeah, I mean, look, that's why this game's really important. You got two teams that are kind of similar in skill right now. The record shows it. Two hot teams, but one has a chance to go to the playoffs. Obviously,
the thing that pisses me off, man, is we should be. If we could just won one more game.
Yeah, just one.
One of those, not the three collapses. You could pick the one that change the score. Bears win. This could be a win and you're in type game, and that would have been electric. I know I'm already excited about this one. Bears versus Packers at Lambeau. You get to play spoiler. I get it, but how much fun would have been just to be able to play this one, and if you win, you get in. It would have been nerve-wracking as hell.
Of course.
But I mean, man, we were so close to having that. And then at the same time, you win 2 or 3 more games. You win all 3 of the games that you lost: Broncos, Browns, and the Lions. I mean, you're in. You're controlling. I don't know if you're winning the division, but you're
no. But you're 10
I think
wins.
You are, right?
If those 3, how many wins does Detroit have?
They have 11.
That would put us. Yeah, we'd be.
So 10. We would have had the tiebreaker, but they would have one less. No, because they're at 11 wins right now. So if you flip them beating us,
you're right.
That's what I'm saying. Right. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know where
we had the tiebreaker because we'd have. Yeah, because we beat them twice. So probably you're right. But woulda, shoulda, coulda. The NFL is hard to win games, as we've learned. Exactly. It's very hard to win games in the NFL. And to be fair, we had some upsets. We probably shouldn't have beat the Falcons, right? Like realistically. Right? In the Browns game.
If they had a better quarterback, absolutely. But their quarterback situation is so garbage.
True. But even still, like if you look back like 8 weeks ago and you saw Falcons, I mean, it was like, okay, there's a chance, but that wasn't a guaranteed win. I don't even think we were favorites in it. And also, you look back at the Browns game, right? We look back at that and be like, oh, wow, we should have won that. But now you kind of look and you go, well, the Browns beat a lot of good people. Flacco's balling out. Like that's a good team. They're going to the playoffs, right? So, we lost in essence, right? We lost to the Browns, who are a playoff team, blown lead to the Lions, who won the division, top 2 NFC team, top 3, right? So should we have won them? Yes, but at the same time, I understand we're playing some good teams in this, the NFL. It's hard to win. Now the Broncos won. That one's a little tough because it's like they weren't that great of a team at the time. We really should have won that one. I think we were the better team on paper, and that defense at that time was horrific. But it is what it is. Is what it is. Oh, we do have a super chat here. I'm gonna pull up real quick from Tito. Our man Tito, appreciate it. $5. He said, "Gotta play it safe and build. We are close from a very scary team. These teams are lucky they ain't playing us right now because we'd be making some noise." To be fair, I agree with that last statement like the most. And I think, Dave, you brought it up on the last podcast. We could, play some teams tough in the NFC. Some of these playoff teams that are in it, like what? Packers are about to find out, but 3-point favorites. Obviously, we can be competitive with them. At least Vegas thinks so. The Rams, we
look at the Cowboys. You think the Cowboys? No one would want to play a team like the Bears. The defense, the way they're playing.
I think the Cowboys is the only one that I think they would stomp us. I think the Eagles, because they've been on a 4-game losing streak, they're not playing so well. The Rams, we could beat them. Who else is in the NFC? The Lions, obviously, we've beaten them basically 1.5 times, right? So I wouldn't be worried about them. So basically, all in all, right, is that yes, we would be a scary team, and I think that's what's great because if we do win this, it's just adding to that like confidence within the locker room that this team is like, no, we can win. And we talked about this before, building that winning culture within this team, right? Building that to carry on into the next year because that's exactly what the Lions did, and you see what that is. Confidence is huge.
Yeah,
you watch a lot of these QB analyst guys, right? Like Dan Orlovsky, you talk about Tim Jenkins,
Chase Daniel,
JT, Chase Daniel, JT. They all talk about confidence. One of the biggest things with the quarterback is confidence, right? So if you start to instill that in yourself, right? We get another great game from Fields and he wins back-to-back like good games and beats out Green Bay. You don't think that's going to carry into next year with now a way more solidified, consistent roster around you that he's not going to grow, right? And that's another thing too, right? He may not be growing at the rate we want, but that doesn't mean next year he can't get that big jump, right? Maybe we were hoping for a year 3 leap. Maybe instead of a year 3 leap, it's a year 4 leap. Would you be mad about that? No, you just want the leap. That's all we want is the results. So again, this is the argument for keeping Fields. I get it. And I totally understand the argument for not keeping Fields. And we can discuss that as well. And we have plenty of time to discuss that. But I'm just kind of laying it out that like the roster, and the team that Ryan Poles has built is in a really good place and the vibes are high. So hopefully that can continue over it. And honestly, if we win this week, I think that at least Flus and Getsy are coming back. I think that's kind of because then you're 8-9, and that makes.
I don't think you bring back Getsy if you're not keeping Fields, in my opinion. But maybe plenty of time.
That's a good one. But Flus for sure.
But we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out really quickly here. Flus even talked about it. He was asked today about his future, and he said basically the timeline is they're focused on Green Bay, which they should be. But after that, a few days later, they're gonna have a couple meetings, and that's when they'll have the discussion about his future and what the team's gonna do and the direction they're gonna go. But as far as this week, bold predictions, Ficky. Let's go ahead and start that. Again, if you are here for the first time, though, you're liking the content, especially on YouTube. We go live twice a week, post-game or pre-game and post-game. So this Sunday around 7, 8 o'clock, whenever the game's over, we'll be live talking about a Bears win, hopefully. But if you enjoy the content, go ahead and hit the like button. It really does help support the channel, help the pod. And then our Apple, Spotify listeners, we are on YouTube. So if you guys want to check us out here, we appreciate it. If not, appreciate the love. We are so close to 3,000 subs, and we're going, and we just appreciate the support. So it's going to be a really fun off season. You can check out the pod as well at BFR_pod. I think we're nearing almost 8,000 followers on Twitter, and of course we're on TikTok, Instagram. Am I missing anywhere?
Instagram's been growing too. I think we got 400 new followers in the past month, so really appreciate that as well. So
seriously, the love has been unreal. I mean, it's such a fun time to be a Bears fan right now, and I know it's great to be a Bears fan at the end of the day. But right now, I don't think this. I think that's true. I think this roster and this franchise it's at a pivotal moment, because you can't really. Hopefully, you can't get this one wrong. But as far as just where they're going, it's like almost every direction they go, it looks like it's going to be some type of success. We just don't know which route holds the most, as far as like maybe a Super Bowl type, talking that. But at the end of the day, we appreciate the support again. It's been unreal. Long season. But man, I wouldn't have it any other way except for maybe the playoffs. But
playoffs.
We're gonna go ahead and go through. We're gonna go through our Bears versus Packers predictions, bold predictions, and then we're gonna give our game predictions. We'll end the show here. But again, thank you for tuning in on a Friday. I know it's a little weird. We go Thursdays typically, but we make do what we can. So Ficky, I don't know if you want me to start here, man.
I got one.
Okay.
And you know what? Maybe I'm high off the pixie dust, but I just think Fields is going to ball out. First off, this defense, I know they played well against the Vikings. Okay. That was a rookie quarterback. I like the defense. They did well against the Vikings, but that was a rookie quarterback. So I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? That's one game. Yeah. Can they do it back to back? Joe Barry has been doo-doo all season. Packers fan, that is their public enemy number one for Packers fans, right? It's been that bad. Their defense, I think their pass defense is like 28th or something it's like pretty bad. Anyways, it's back half, right? So this is an opportunity for Fields to shine. He did it against a good defense last week. So if I see that he did against a good defense last week, why would I not think that he can do it against a worse defense, a way worse defense this week? So my bold prediction is that Fields has 300 yards passing, right? It may not seem that bold, but he's only done it once this year. So I'm saying 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. I think it's going to be a good statement game. Don't know if they'll win or not, because the defense still has to play, and that offense, that Green Bay offense, looks pretty dominant right now on both the passing and running. But I think Fields does his part to where we leave this game at least feeling like, you know what, maybe we should stick with Fields. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? Because you got a whole 3 years of data that you have to evaluate. But I think from a fan perspective, we'll be like, well, you know what? At least Fields did his part.
No, 300 yards. Holy shit. That would be one way to end the year.
In the season,
I want to pull up this real quick. So well, actually, I'm not even gonna address it. It was just a comment about Fields. I ain't got the energy right now. But my bold prediction, I'm actually gonna stick on the defense here. Tyreek Stevenson, he had 2 picks right last week. Mm-hmm. I really feel like he's going to get both just an interception, but also, hear me out, a fumble, forced fumble. I don't know why, but I feel like he's going to have a big game with JJ perhaps being out. He's an impactful corner. He's a physical corner. I'm thinking an interception on Jordan Love, which would be tough. He's 11 on the year, but I think also the physicality, he's going to, maybe there's a reception or there has to be a reception, maybe a ball carrier, but I think he's just going to kind of get a forced fumble, really impact the game, maybe flip the field, shake the momentum down in Lambeau. But I'm expecting big things from the rookie. I really am. I think he just won NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Jordan Love was the Offensive Player of the Week, which I don't know how many times those guys. I don't know if does that happen a lot? I don't think that happens a lot as far as like going up, as far as the NFC and Defensive Players of the Week. So either way, I think it's gonna be a fun matchup. I wish JJ was out there. Hope he is, like you said. But my bold prediction, I'm gonna stick with the defense here. Now we got to go to our game predictions here, Ficky. Unless you want to do another bold prediction.
No. I think that's a bold enough for me,
bold
right?
Enough.
I can't.
That's what I was thinking, man.
I can't be wrong twice. Okay, so game predictions.
I can't be wrong.
Game predictions.
Remember, 3-point favorites. It's in Lambeau. A lot on the line for really both
and
teams.
This defense in 4 weeks has held teams. I think it's like in the past 7 weeks, they've only allowed 2 teams over 17 points. But in both of those games, both of those matchups where they allowed 17 points or more, they lost. So the question really is, because I think the offense will be able to score points against this defense, right? I really do. I think it's going to happen because the offense has been progressively playing better. The run games looked good. Fields has looked good. Maybe not great all games, but he's looked good, and we've been able to score points. And the defense has been looking great too. But this is probably the hottest offense that we've played in probably the past 6 weeks or so. So the question is, can this defense hold the Packers to 20 points or less? And I'm not sure about that. So I think my final prediction is going to be 27-24 Packers, but Fields and the offense looks good. Just don't have enough on defense to stop this hot offense on the Packers.
So you got the Packers losing. Good, because I have the Packers losing too.
No. I have them winning 27-24.
Oh, that's what I meant. You have the Packers winning, and you have the Bears losing. I have the Bears losing as well. So the Packers defense, I want to bring it up here. So according to PFF, their defense metrics, both running and passing, as far as their defense goes, it is 23rd worst in the NFL right now. Yeah. It's not great. I'm hoping the Bears can score points. You would think they would. However, I'm even trying to do a reverse jinx here. I think the Bears struggle. I really do, just because we've seen this story so many fucking times. We just seen it 16 weeks ago. Week 1, a lot of momentum, so much hype. DJ Moore acquisition. Darnell Mooney is going to have a big season. He's not the number 1 anymore. He's going to be, the number 2. Cole Kmet, which shout out to him. He's had a great season. The Bears offensive line. This is the week we change the tide. This is the week at home, Soldier Field, and you get blown out. And I know this is a different Bears team. The Bears defense is better. Offensive line, kind of cohesive. Still need a center. I get all that. I don't believe it, man. And I'm going to stick to what I said on week 1. I will not pick the Bears to win week 18. I don't care what happens until they really show me that they can do it. So I'm going 24-10 Packers.
Damn.
I'm thinking it's –
that's fair.
I don't see it, man. You're in Lambeau. I feel like we've seen it. We expect Justin to play a good game. We expect him to make plays. I see it right here. JF1 is a playmaker. I believe in him. I hope he does it. And again, I'm hoping this is like a reverse jinx here. I would love to see the Bears win. I need them to win, but I don't believe it, man. I just don't.
No, that's fair. And I'm not going to argue that at all. That's
I can't even pick a close game. I can't even pick a close game they lose in. I just think it's the fucking Bears, or it's the Packers, man.
The history shows that picking the Packers is probably right. I haven't won since 2015. We haven't beaten them outright since 2018, I think, when we won the NFC North in that week. That was week 18 as well, right? or week 17 bad things. We didn't have an extra game. So yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Why would you? This team for decades has been the better team, and the Bears have disappointed us twice a year, almost every year, consecutive year in and year out. So I totally understand your sentiment. I hope we are fucking wrong. I've never wanted to be more wrong in my life, but they got to show it.
It's exhausting, man. Like I picking this team to win against the Packers is just like, you're just asking for, it's like you're doing the same thing. What's the insanity? You're doing this, doing the same thing over and over and over.
Winning a different result. It's not.
Yeah. And Luis, he over here said that's exactly what ESPN's Adam Hogue said. Well, ESPN. What?
Yeah, no, he doesn't work for ESPN.
Maybe
that's what
does
Hogue
he?
said.
I don't think so.
No, he doesn't. No.
I know he does a lot of appearances and stuff, but I think it's CHGO over there. But yeah, I agree. If that's what he said, I think every Bears fan, if you're picking the Packers picking the Bears this week, I mean, good for you. I hope you're right, truly do. But it's like, we've seen this so many times before. It's like, it's just, you can't do it. Prove it. Show me. If they win this week, I'm all the way back.
Yeah, we're back in. That's all I need.
I'm all the way back. That's all I need. That's all we need.
One. That's it. Like Spider-Man, you just need one. It's crazy, bro. Just man, I really need it. And I think every Bears fan out there, it's my PSA. We need this more than anything. I know it's not our Super Bowl, but just from a mental standpoint to end it this way, I think would just be a chef's kiss, because it's very much how the Lions felt when they ended last year. And look how that turned out. Doesn't mean it's going to automatically, but the vibes are immaculate, and I want to keep them high because I need this. I've seen so many bad Bears teams in the past where just everything sucks. It's a shit show. F this, F that. This is not this Bears team. It is not. So I want to keep that positivity high, and let's ride out on a win.
I love it. Well, I have a couple more things I want to get to. I'm glad we got our predictions the way. If you guys have your predictions, throw them in the chat. We'll share them on the screen here. This is from Nicholas Mariano, CHGO. He went ahead and asked kicker Cario Santos, who just signed that extension a couple weeks ago, if there's any extra emphasis this week with it being the Bears versus Packers, and a shot to keep them out of the playoffs. So I kind of want to share this. We'll react to it.
So has there been any extra emphasis if Bears Packers chance to knock them out? Is there anything extra this week, or is it just another game?
I would say so. I mean, I don't think it's a game that you even need extra stuff, but it's just seeing what Detroit did to them last year. I remember watching that game, and then kind of fast forward a year, putting ourselves in that position. It would be pretty cool to do that, but just because they're our rivals, but. Just beating them is without any extra stuff would be special.
And he's not the first player. I mean, Cole Kmet said the same thing I mentioned earlier in the show.
They understand. I mean, if we know what's at stake, you think they don't know what's at stake? Come on, like it's their rivals. To knock them out of the playoffs. Like, this is a big game. And it's a statement game for a lot of people, because there's a lot of questions that still aren't answered. And this is going to help. Maybe it doesn't answer them all, but it's going to help push the needle one way or the other. Right. So it'll be interesting to see. But before we go out, let me give some shout outs here too. We got John Collins said, I'm a new OG, which is true. Thank you, John. And thank you for that. I think you gave us a super chat last week, so appreciate that. Joe's in here, said triple OG gang. Appreciate that.
Let's go, Joe.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining. And we do have let's see, 2 questions here if you want to go over those.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a few minutes for sure.
Okay. All right. So we got one for Luis. He said, what do you guys make of the Bob Warja, I think is his last name, tweet about Poles having made his mind to keep JF a week ago? I don't know if I saw that article or tweet, so I don't know. The fact
I know what he's talking about.
Oh, no, I know it is the tweet. And I was like, I think I shared in the group chat, and I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. Is this a true source? Like, so.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up on our Twitter. So I don't even know. I don't know who Bob really is. Let me pull it up. You can see it. So essentially what happened, bring it on the big screen here. So Bob, he is an IT guy, father of 3 kids, covered the Cubs and Bears for many years. Again, I have no idea. I honestly, Bob, I don't know you, but if this is legit, good for you. He went ahead and tweeted this. It kind of made rounds. You can see it here, over almost 300,000 impressions. He said, I still have sources, make it a little bit bigger. I still have sources at Hallis Hall from my writing days. I was able to confirm what we've all heard. Flus is returning as head coach. I've also verified that Poles made his decision about a week ago to stay with Fields and not draft a quarterback at number 1. He then followed it up. They will trade the number 1 pick, but hopefully draft Harrison. But that would likely mean not moving very far from the draft board. If they can get a better offer and trade for a wide receiver, then they can move outside of the top 3 in the draft. They're worried the Cardinals would draft Harrison. Now, plans can change based on circumstances. However, I feel very solid about what I'm reporting. Again, no idea. I have not heard of him outside of January 3rd when he tweeted this. So, I mean, if he does, great. I mean, a lot of people – what do you say?
Yeah, as I said, we have some people kind of giving some more details about him, but Luis said he's a former senior editor for Bleacher Report. He thinks.
Okay.
And then Chris Armstrong here said Bob is an OG Bears guy from back in the day. So there might be some validity to it, but just like with anything I see on the internet, like if it's not Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport or Tom Pelissero, like, or there's a couple other ones where I'm like, you know, you are
Dave.
This. Yeah, if you're not Dave or me, right? No, if it doesn't come from like them top dogs,
don't listen to
you got to take it. You got to take it with a grain of sand. It doesn't mean that he's wrong. It's just that I can't prove that he's right, and I have no I don't know who this guy is. So, but good for him if he's got sources and that's correct. I mean, I guess that'd make me and you happy, Dave. But
no, I mean, Ken says it right here. That sounds actually pretty possible. Agreed. Yeah. I mean, it is definitely possible, and that's the route. Both. I mean, I'll speak for myself and you two figure. That's the route I think we should go. I want the Bears to go. It makes I think it's almost the safest route because you don't know what Caleb Williams is. I know we talked about the potential earlier. You really don't. But yeah, that's the end of the day.
And then we got another OG in here. So Pam Thompson said, hashtag OG. This OG is way old. LOL. Retirement is fun. Nice talking sports with you guys. I've been a fan since I was my dad's remote and game watching buddy. Let's shred the cheese. I like that. Appreciate you joining the show. Yeah. Love that. And then we do have one more question, which is from Sports from the Trenches on YouTube, said Ficky, which could be addressed to both of us. But what are you talking about? You can't bring Luke back. And I think this was back when I said Luke Getsy's coming back. And again, context, right? We've talked about this. There's definitely ways where I'd be okay if Luke comes back because I'd understand why, right? You bring back Fields. You want that consistency year 3 in the offense, right? We've seen some positive from Luke Getsy. Just had one of his best games last week. He's had some good games. He's had some bad ones, right? I could see why they bring that back. Run it back. Let's have consistency with this offense, and let's just build on it by bringing in better people. In the same way that I say, and I think a lot of people say Fields can get better, coaches can get better too. You don't think Flus can get better and from mistakes that he's made? These are all humans. You learn from your mistakes and you improve, right? It doesn't mean it's going to happen. Again, can't predict that. But bringing back Getsy doesn't mean we're going to get the same Getsy. We may get a better Getsy, right? You think Bill Belichick got fired from his first job as the Jets, I believe. Yeah. He's now known as one of the greatest coaches of all time. You don't think there were some learning experiences through his career, right? Comparing to a GOAT's tough, right? But my point is that people can get better all across the organization, whether it's player, coaches, GMs, they can all learn. Even me and you getting better with the show, all this. There's always room for improvement. So, like I said, I don't know if Luke's going to come back, but if it comes back and it's under the idea that we're kind of running everything back, like you said, Dave, I'd understand. Now, if we bring him back and, we go the Caleb route, that would be interesting, right? So I'm like, if you're restarting, wouldn't you just go get a new guy? But, I digress. Yeah. We got Jonathan Perry, Sports Market says Bob Wardra is legit. I have not heard that, but hey, I really don't know. Just because I haven't heard of him doesn't mean there's a lot of people I don't know about, and there's a lot of great people that have a lot of sources. I'm not in the source game for the most part, but shout out to Bob for that. Yeah, it got Twitter pretty hyped up. So again, Bears versus Packers, Week 18. It's going to be a beautiful game in Lambeau. I can't wait for it. We're like I said, we're going to recap it Sunday right after about 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. We'll see, but we'll be there to recap it with you. Then it's the off season, man, which is crazy to even say.
But again,
these next 4, bro, this draft is going to be crazy. You thought last year's draft was wild, right? Having the first overall pick. We have even more now with more questions. It's going to be a fun offseason. It's going to be long, like you said, too. But
I'm excited. I'm excited about the combine. I'm excited about March free agency, what the Bears are going to be, what they're going to do, because at that time, you almost want to make a decision at quarterback before you start bringing in some guys, in my opinion, at least on the offensive side.
Yeah, I was watching the Rich Eisen podcast, and he was saying basically a decision has to be made about March-ish.
That's
so
what
I don't know what free agency is, but yeah, it's around them because I think it's probably right before, right? It's because people didn't have to decide.
Well, yeah, free agency is about first week of March, and then the second wave, it comes in the second week of March, I believe. So,
right. So you have to know so that you can know how you're going to move within free agency. So yeah, you're spot on.
I mean, theoretically, you really could, but I don't know. I'm excited. But check out the BFR_pod or BFR pod on Twitter, Instagram, everything like that. We do have a voicemail line. If you were with us last week for the Atlanta game, we had so many that were sent in. It was really cool just to kind of share those. That will be up. If you want the link, it is on both my Twitter, the link tree, the BFR Twitter link tree, I think Instagram, everything like that. But check out the pod. Check out Ficky on all socials. It's Ficky Baby. Again, this show is presented by Sports Mockery. Wouldn't be able to do it without them. I write for Sports Mockery. I also cover the Bears over there. So follow me on all socials or most socials at Dave_BFR. And we'll be back Sunday, hopefully with the Bears win. No matter what happens, though, we will be back. And we'll see you then.
Peace.